Broadcasting live from the Vegas Video Network studios, just steps from the Las Vegas Strip, it's Talktails with Chris Phillips. Coming up on today's show, comedy hypnotist Marc Savard. And now, I can name that host in 3 syllables, Chris Phillips.
You know, I get more applause out of 4 people in this audience than I do in a whole weekend worth of shows. Little over the top, but terribly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Las Vegas. I'm Chris Phillips, and you're watching Talktails. Here on the Vegas Video Network, we are so happy that you could join us once again on our little adventure we have set out about 6 months ago now, I think, Scott, to bring you a little slice of what Vegas is like every Monday evening, and where we get to have a couple cocktails, or now that we're in the holidays, I guess you would call it libations. Holiday spirits. Yes, it's officially the holidays, and we have been gone the last couple weeks. As you know, we are now doing our show every other Monday due to the fact that I can never get out of bed more than once every 2 weeks on a Monday in time to get here. But since we have been gone, Scott, I haven't been able to say, how was your Thanksgiving? Did you have a nice Thanksgiving? Well,
yes. Nobody caught the fact that my microphone wasn't on there. It's because we're professional here, damn it. Yes, I had a lovely Thanksgiving. Jacob and his lovely wife was here. We played a game called Mexican Train. It's a Domino's game. Wow. The audience loves Mexican Train. And,
because you know, when I think of the Pilgrims and the Indians, I think of a Mexican dish.
Yes, and the fun part was only one of us had to get naked. Don't want to
What
say.
kind of network you running here?
Don't want to say any more, please.
Well, I'm glad you had a nice Thanksgiving. It sounds like it was very festive. And
How was yours?
I went to a small city outside of South Bend, Indiana, just across the border into Michigan. I believe it was called Edgarville or something like that in Michigan, where I got to meet my girlfriend's mother for the first time after 2 years, Scott. And it was quite an experience, particularly the fact that she is 2 years older than I am. So I had considerably more in common with her mother than I do with her daughter.
You know you're going to hell, right?
But as long as I'm in the VIP section.
Well,
As long as I got bottle service, I don't care. I'm fine. But no, we had a lovely time. I got to meet her extended family, her cousins, and they all accepted me after 3 or 4 hours. No, it was great. What a lovely time we had. Very festive. So yeah, we had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and with everybody that came to see us today, I wish you Thanksgiving as well, except for our guest who is Canadian. So that was just the annoying day where everything is closed to him. But do you participate in any of that Black Friday shopping nonsense? Either, Scott?
I don't have to participate in Black Friday because I got Jake.
Somebody, somebody to do your shopping for you? What?
No. I just when it comes to black, I've got the best black ever.
I believe it. We can't see him though. He's back there somewhere.
Camera
because
four.
there's no there's no light.
There he is.
Okay, there we go. All right, I was just having to take your word for it.
We're there.
Yeah. No, I think Black Friday is a lot of fun. I can't imagine people being at Target at 2 in the morning, trampling each other to save $5 on a toaster.
No. It's nuts.
But, you know, that sounds like a lot of fun. But it is the official holiday season, ladies and gentlemen. And what better way to bring in the holidays than to have a couple cocktails with Chris Phillips and get to meet some of my dear friends that make up the fabric of this great community, particularly the entertainment community. But before we get to my first guest, who is a dear friend and an incredibly talented young man, I'd like to let you know that you can contact us anytime, of course, with any kind of questions or comments by simply going to Talktails at vegasvideonetwork.com. Also, if you're not computer savvy, pick up the old phone. We have a toll-free number. It's 866-966 4599. And if you were one of the lucky ones who are watching us live right now, you're going to actually be able to go into what we call our live chat room, where you can ask us any questions, and we're going to hopefully be able to get to many of those questions on the air for my dear friend who is my guest today. There's several ways in which you're able to watch us, of course. You can tune in to our home, which is the VegasVideoNetwork.com, to see what we do, along with many of the other shows that make this probably the hottest new internet network in computer world, wouldn't you say? You can find us on iTunes, whatever the heck that is. Also, you can watch our computer programming on your TV with this thing called a Roku player. Correct? I feel like Regis right there. This Roku thing that the kids are into. I don't know what it is. Or you can see us on, of course, the way I watch it is on YouTube.
Yes.
But I get diverted with all the porn that's on there now. A lot of porn on YouTube. You know
YouTube porn.
I just discovered that.
Nice.
I've never been an internet porn guy. And then
Really?
No. And then I found out that I'm in some of those things, and I figured I might as well. That's
you
embarrassing.
can find porn on Roku, too.
Porn's on Roku?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so, well, see, I know you gave me a Roku
I
player
did.
just a few weeks ago, and I'm embarrassed to say I have not set it up. But now, if there's porn on it, I'm going to have my girlfriend set it up tonight.
Nice.
Because I'm not terribly savvy with that kind of thing.
Anything I can do to get you online, we're going to do it. So
well, you know, I have to, because now I hooked up the TV. She went out and bought a Wii player.
Nice.
I haven't had a video game since Pong in '76. Remember that?
Chris, God bless you. You sound like you.
I'm not kidding.
You just came out of a frozen tundra somewhere, and you have no idea what's happening around.
I've been living in my little world for so many years. I remember Asteroids and Missile Command back in '84, but since then I haven't played a video game since. But now they got this Wii player where, you know, it's very physical, Scott. You're throwing things around. But of course she had to hook it up because I have no idea what I'm doing. So now that she's hooked that up successfully, she can put up the Roku player too.
You're so sweet and innocent.
I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
A hug.
Oh, Scott. Get a couple cocktails into me, you can get all you want.
Nice. Hey, do you have a gift right there?
Yes, but last but not least, I want to mention we're now on the radio.
We are.
We're syndicated on KSHP.
That's right.
AM. I think that's known as Ketchup AM.
Close.
I don't know.
Thanks. Well done.
I'm sure they really appreciate me saying that. But before we start with our first guest, oh, Scott. I am so happy that one of our dear friends who kind of works on the show and attends many of my performances as well, because apparently there's nothing else to do in Las Vegas on a Friday and Saturday night. His name is Ira, and his much, much better looking other half, Marie. That's a low bar. Leave Ira alone. Ira, what would we be without Ira? Can't make fun of Ira, but they got me a gift, Scott, and he asked me to open it on the air, and even though I'm going against my better judgment, I agreed to do so. And so, if you don't mind, I would like to say thank you, even prior to seeing what this, to my dear friends for thinking of me through the holidays.
Well, let's not do that quite so soon. Let's just wait.
Huh?
It may not be thank you enough of all.
No, I can't tell you how much I appreciate. Now, I've got something here now that I have a feeling not a lot of other people have. If I wasn't so damn stupid, and I wish I knew what it was, it's called a Safe Mate. And it looks to me like a butt thermometer, but I'm not really sure.
Nice.
I don't think that's what it is. Now, what is this? This is ridiculous. What is a Safe Mate? Well, let me just put it this way, folks. It's what truly every alcoholic needs in Las Vegas, particularly those like me who have had a run-in with the law on couple occasions. It's a breathalyzer test. Which, if I would have just had this on so many occasions, because, you know, I have to say that I've become friends with many of the people here in Las Vegas, some of which I got to meet in a jail cell. I didn't ever think I was going to do that. But now, because of Ira and Marie's kind offering of a safe mate, I can check my breath as I leave the Vegas Video Network studios today and have my first guest drive me home. Well, thank you, Ira. I'll have you administer the tests. Well, folks, we're going to take a short little break, and when we come back, we have not only, once again, one of my dear friends and drinking buddies, but he is hypnotizing the masses here in Las Vegas. He's big-time headliner over at the Planet Hollywood. He comes to us from the V Theater, and his name, ladies and gentlemen, is Marc Savard. He is a comedian, he is a hypnotist, and he is a good-looking man, too, wouldn't you say, especially for a Canadian? Yeah, it's the exchange rate. Well, when we come back, we got Marc Savard from Planet Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Talktails. I'm Chris Phillips. We'll see you in just, 15 seconds.
Traditional media believes that after about 3 minutes, you'll tune out. Most Vegas media companies think if it doesn't jiggle, you won't tune in. At the Vegas Video Network, we think both are wrong. The Vegas Video Network is the first and only live online broadcast network that specializes in insider news and expert views about Vegas. We combine great storytelling with the ability to watch when and where you want on your computer, mobile device, or television. Discover the real Las Vegas. Visit VegasVideoNetwork.com.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, you're watching Talktails here on the Vegas Video Network. My name is Chris Phillips, and thank you for joining us on this chilly Monday night here in Las Vegas. We had some snow over the weekends. Everything is plural to me now. And so things have changed considerably, but that didn't keep me out of the house last night because I had the pleasure to go see one of the most entertaining entertainment experiences I have been to in a long time. And I'm talking, of course, about my friend Marc Savard, who is the hypnotist over at Planet Hollywood, coming to you from the V Theater. Ladies and gentlemen, he is here with us today, looking very dapper, by the way.
Well, thanks to have you. Wow. It's not normally how I dress, but I see all the way you dress all the time, and
Well, you know, I actually was a little more casual than usual. I usually wear a suit, but I put on some jeans and such because in tribute to, as you know, this week the NFR is in town, the National Finals Rodeo.
We've gone country.
So the city has its country bands, and you can't get away from country music, and
I
so I
hypnotized
put the jeans on.
a rodeo announcer about 4 nights ago. He volunteered on stage.
Oh, you're kidding.
Cowboy hat, the belt buckle, and they've asked what he did for a living. He's a rodeo announcer.
Oh, that's great.
So
Well,
only in Vegas will you get that.
You had a really funny cowboy up there last night, as a matter of fact, as well, who you convinced that his name was E-I-E-I-O.
Right.
It was hilarious. But Marc, I'm so happy to have you here. Not only welcome to Talktails, but welcome to Las Vegas. How many years have you been in town now?
I've been here 8 years, performing for 5, and originally came from Canada.
Yes.
And this was kind of part of the plans with my wife and I. We're looking for something, a little more of a regular gig to raise a family and to have kids and whatnot. And obviously, being on the road all the time made it very, very difficult. That wasn't, what we had envisioned when getting married. So we put our sights on getting a show in Vegas, and lo and behold, it wasn't an easy task, but we did.
Well, congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you. Obviously, things are going very well for you. Become not only a big entertainer here in town, but a big celebrity as well. Your billboards are all over town. They're every magazine. Your show is very successful. I know you're selling a lot of tickets and a lot of merchandise, my friend, and that's the secret to success. And where a lot of shows have kind of come and gone through some difficult times in the last couple of years, you have stayed afloat.
Well, I think that
things are going very well. What do you attribute that to?
Well, part of it is the key is entertainment business. I think that people focus on the entertainment aspect of it when really it's how do you get butts in seats, how do you market, how do you plan, how do you promote, how do you, and not only do all that, but maintain a certain level of product so that it is entertaining and the people start talking about it and sharing, and there's word of mouth. And then when the word of mouth begins to spread, you create a fan base, and that's what keeps the show going. And as you know, I mean, being in the music industry, you get a lot of repeat customers, they bring their friends,
Sure.
And it grows exponentially. And in this day and age, in this economy, it's more business than it is entertainment, really.
Oh, of course, absolutely. And you have a thriving business, to say the least. Like I said, I've known of you for a long time. You've been a dear friend, but I'm embarrassed to say that until last night, I've never had the opportunity to see you. And I got to tell you, that was one of the most exciting, entertaining, hilarious experiences I've seen here in Las Vegas.
The first 10 minutes is awesome. Unbelievable, but you didn't see that because you came at 10 after 10. So, yeah. So I don't know if you've ever been to a Zoe Bowie show, but it does not start at 11. It starts like 11:30, 11:20.
Well, I thought maybe you were on that same time.
Start at 10. Why show starts at 10?
No, I gotta tell you the reason though. One, I did see more than you think because I was standing in the back and I was too embarrassed to interrupt you because you were on that roll and you had me sitting right up front and I didn't want to cause a stir. And so we kind of hung in the back.
And I'll cut you some slack because it was the marathon yesterday and it was difficult to get anywhere on the strip last night.
Well, and we had to take back roads and side roads and dirt alleys, and we finally got in this.
And you did get in, and
yes.
That's great. And I'm glad that you were able to sweet talk your way past the box office and to get your girlfriend in because it is 18 and older show. On that note, I couldn't resist.
You know, it's never just the box office. They have these things in the hotels now called curfews.
Yes.
That's been really hard on our social life lately. But you know, you're not only one of my dear friends, you're not only one of the most talented people here in town, but I got to tell you, you've now become one of my favorite guests because any guest who brings their own alcohol is a dear friend of mine. And I see that you brought something very special with you today, and I've never seen whatever this is before. Would you explain what you are bestowing on our little show?
A friend of mine, Ho-Sung Pak, is one of the main originators of this vodka, and it's an organic vodka, which is like distilled, minimum 5 or 6 times, and it's organic. It's got a flavor of blood orange. It is unbelievable. I don't even know if it's even available in the market yet, so you might be one of the very first people getting a taste of this.
I would very much like to clear out my Canadian whiskey.
Yes, your Crown Royal. Yeah. I know it's polite to pour yours first, but
no, please. There's nothing that goes better with Crown Royal than a organic vodka back.
Yes.
My friend, here's to your success, and here's to organic vodka. Let's see how this does. It's wonderful. No, this is delicious. This is fantastic. Where does he make this out of? This is incredible.
This thing reads the fumes.
Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take our reading now.
Okay. It's a bad idea right from the beginning.
After a couple of these.
You met my friend that I brought with me.
Bad idea.
Dragan Vulic.
Dragan Vulic?
Yeah, he's a police officer. So
Oh,
let's continue.
oh.
Yes, let's continue. So if anyone's experienced with this equipment.
So if I can't work a damn video game, you think I'm going to be able to work this contraption? So what I'm guessing is you push the button, and you go, yeah, I haven't had any drinks at all. I feel completely sober. Now, do I breathe into it? What does 4.5 mean?
It means you're dead.
No, mine is 0.01. Is that relatively sober?
Yeah.
All right, Mark. Now let's see how you are going to...
That's right.
Yeah, go ahead and give it a whirl.
Fogged it up.
This is very interesting, Ira. I'm going to be... You have no idea how much fun I'm going to have with this.
It says wait. Flat zero.
Oh, see, okay. Well, I had
0.00.
privy to a cocktail before you walked on, so I got a little head start.
And we're drinking straight.
So what we're going to do is in 30 minutes from now, we're going to give this another shot and have your friend take us out in cuffs.
Yes.
Now, to start the program off, as you may or may not know, we have something that not every show in town has. I bet you don't have a live chat room over there at that Hypnotist show.
No, I do not.
Well, we have a live chat room, and we have one of your fans online right now that, if you don't mind, right off the bat, would you mind if we field a question for you real quick?
Let's field the question.
We'll learn all about you.
All right, a couple
Scott,
questions.
who do we have?
Yeah, a couple questions. First one's from Get Her Done, and he wants to know, or
Rodeo
she wants
week.
to know, have you ever considered teaching hypnosis to other folks?
I do. Matter of fact, I do have a class. I teach. I teach once a year. I teach stage hypnosis. People come in from different parts of the world. Last year we had 50 students representing some Cayman Islands, Thailand, Australia, the UK, Canada, Vietnam, and I teach them to do what I do. I teach them basic hypnosis, how to hypnotize people, how to put on a show, how to orchestrate an entire career if they want to go from whatever they're doing in their lives currently to doing hypnosis full time. So I do. I teach.
Now, is that a series of seminars that you give, or how does that work? Are they classes?
Yeah, it's broken into 3 parts, 4 to 5 days of training depending on what class they're taking. And they come in, they train part 1. I send them out on their way to hypnotize people and get some practice, and then they come back a few months later and then teach them the business part of it, marketing, promotion, promotional videos, agents, how to deal with agents, so on and so forth. And then part 3 is a master's program where we take their videos of their shows and begin breaking it down. I'm very, very technical. Every word means something. We're all naturally suggestible in neurolinguistic programming to get people to modify or to move into certain behavior. That's why advertising works. We're all naturally suggestible, so there's a science to it.
Now,
hypnosis is not fluffy that way.
Right. Now, are some of the principles that you teach consistent with this tremendous series of DVD videos you have?
Yes.
That I can't believe you are so specific. You have a DVD for every, like you'd mentioned, if you want to quit smoking, or if you want to improve your love life, I'm sure, or if you want to do whatever it is that you want to improve in your life, you have a DVD for that.
Correct.
Which is amazing, which I admire not only in terms of the fact that you have a lot to offer people to better themselves, but boy, that's got to be good on the pocketbook too.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's a good
You got
business.
some great marketing. I can't believe the merchandise you have.
And when you do it to want, I mean, I have a natural desire to want to help people. I want to leave people better than when I found them. And everything that we do begins with the power of the mind. It begins in thought. You begin to change the way we think. You change the way you behave.
Sure.
So these programs are all designed for that. It's designed to allow the subconscious mind to be rewritten. And everything we do stems from our emotions, our mind, our thought, our creativity, which means that it doesn't matter what we're talking about. Any habit, any desire, any skill, it all comes from the mind power. So it doesn't, you name a condition or an ailment or something that somebody wants to change about themselves, it stems and begins from the mind.
Well, I think there couldn't be a better example of how the power of your mind can heal. I can't think of a better example than yourself that you experienced back when you were 21 years old. You had a rather horrific accident. You were, if I'm not mistaken, hit by a drunk driver head on. Broke your back, fractured your skull. That would have either killed most people or disabled them for the rest of their lives. Now, I understand, if I'm not mistaken, that through the power of your mind, without medication, you willed yourself back to health within a couple months, and you were back to performing within 6 months or something? What's the story behind that?
That is
and I'm sure that
true.
influenced you, inspired you to want to do all this.
Well, I went and to go before that, I was in school, college, and trying to get into med school. And so that was what I was going to do. And
Really?
I kind of happened upon hypnosis by accident, and I saw a show, and I was fascinated by how the power of words and voice could make people behave a certain way in an entertaining fashion. So I was curious. I started doing reading and research. And then my friends got wind of that, and I started hypnotizing my friends, and it became a party trick.
Wow.
It became, the weekend party trick. And then people started hearing about that and calling me and saying, "Oh, we want you to do shows and do what you do." And so I started.
When you were around 19 years old?
Yeah. So I started doing makeshift shows and just kind of fun, silly things, and while I was still going to college. Then the first year I did 6 shows. The next year 52. The year after that 115.
Oh my!
And I decided that maybe I should print business cards. And
That's so impressive.
This might be an actual legitimate career. So I never chose it. It kind of chose me. And so I decided to call my parents and tell them I'm quitting school. And they did. I mean, that did not go over well at all. Obviously, our son's going to be a doctor, and now he's a sideshow variety freak. And that's really how they perceived that.
Right.
And from there, I said, well, I'll go and I'll take some training for hypnotherapy and take the clinical side of hypnosis, so that when I fall flat on my face in this entertainment career, I got something to fall back on. I could do private sessions and work with people with weight loss or stop smoking or depression or whatever it is and have a legitimate clinical career. And so I went and did the training, and not more than a month coming out of that training, I got hit by the drunk driver. And so it was kind of like the opportunity presented itself.
You got to apply the principles on yourself.
You know, you've learned these things, you're talking the talk, let's see you walk the walk. And I became my own success story by applying everything that I learned. I mean, so that's why everything that I do with the clinical aspect, I know how powerful it is because I've lived it. I know how powerful the mind is. And people say, well, positive thinking doesn't, you know, it doesn't work. Well, do we believe that, do you know people that can think themselves sick? You know, that constantly whine?
Oh, good Lord, yes.
Yeah, so it's the exact...
Hypochondriacs to the extreme. Sure.
And so it's the exact opposite and powerful part of that.
I believe in that completely.
You know? And so I was able to tap into a lot of that mind power and really nurse myself back to health using the power of my mind and all natural healing. And to this day, it really empowered me to make, it kind of made me feel invincible, mind and body wise. Sure. You know, there's nothing that I can't do because I want to do it. I think that the mind power, you know, allows us to open up any opportunity we want to open up, and you know, it brings to the saying that I say all the time that is the greater the want, the easier the how, and that's really was that defining moment for me, and has begun to shape the my career 18 years later. So,
well, it's an amazing field that you got into that not everybody aspires to from when they're a little kid. You know, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a football player. What is it, like, is there something that ticked at some point where you woke up and you're like, I want to be a hypnotist?
Well, the high school counselor wasn't one of the options that the high school guidance counselor was, offering the career. So, go to the career fair, you don't see
Did you have an inspiration, or did you see somebody on TV? Did you go and see somebody in concert that you're like, oh, I want to do that?
I saw a live show, and in a nightclub in Canada. I was 18, because it's the drinking age in Alberta, where I'm from, and I was fascinated, and it was the curiosity. How does somebody on stage use the power of their words to say a few things and make people behave that way? And it wasn't the silly antics that amazed me. I remember when you saw the show last night, it's that when the hypnotist said sleep and everyone just slumped over in their chairs. I mean, I think I gasped. I went, oh, this doesn't make sense to me. And then it was the inquisitive part of me that says, I need to understand. I don't understand what hypnosis is. It's creepy. It's cool. It's exciting. It's inspiring. I felt all these emotions that...
It's hard to believe that it's real, to be honest. Because, in this world not this world, but the city, where everything is a facade.
Nothing
is real. Yeah. There's the cynicism that you go into a show going, oh, this has got to be paid actors. But then you think, how could you possibly pay not only the 20-some-odd people that you deal with on stage, then all their family and friends in the audience
that are cheering,
night after night after night with a different set of people. That's impossible.
And that's still the number one complaint we have about the show, is people think that it's set up and prearranged. Matter of fact, as you saw last night, every single night, I do a group photo of everyone on stage, and we post it on our Facebook. You can go back through my Facebook for hundreds of shows, and you won't see the same people. Every single night, real people from the audience. And and the only way we can say that that's true is volunteer yourself and see. Sure. Volunteer yourself, get the experience, and it's such a cool and fun experience.
What a wonderful thing to do, to come to Vegas. You want to try something different, especially if you have a cocktail or two, feeling loose, feeling free to kind of let yourself go. To see what you're able to take these individuals that I'm guessing are rather conservative people during the day, working in their legitimate conservative jobs, and then they come in there and you're able to have them do things they've probably never done in their life, and to the obvious entertainment value to the crowd and their friends and family. Do they even have a clue as to what just happened to them until they see the DVD of what they went through for the last hour and a half? Or are they aware of what's happening?
About 70% of the people are aware, but they can't help it. They're aware of what's happening, almost like a bystander. I'll say, oh, well, on the count of three, you hear this music, you'll river dance. In their minds, their conscious mind, because the conscious mind, we're talking two layers here, conscious versus subconscious. The conscious goes, I'm not going to river dance. This sounds so ridiculous. I'm not going to do it. And then the music comes on, and the subconscious mind overrides. And it goes, yes, you are. And it begins to make this stuff happen. It almost could some ways feel like you're a puppet. You're aware of what's happening, but you can't help it. That's for about 70% of the people. 30% of the people who are the deeper, volunteers that are participating have no recollection whatsoever. It's complete blackout. It's like New Year's Eve. It's like you don't remember anything at all. Or a Friday night at Zoe Bowie. One of the two.
Well, speaking of many of the people that have come into your show, I think we might have one of them in the live chat room right now, if you don't mind taking another question.
Sure, absolutely.
We actually got several questions here. Chat is blowing up. We'll start with Jackie. Jackie wants to know, what's the most powerful or impressive results you've seen as a result of hypnosis other than your own?
Well, this is also very close to home. I hypnotized my wife to deliver all 3 of our babies using hypnosis as the only anesthesia. So pain-free childbirth.
Oh my gosh!
It was awesome. Not only was it really awesome for me to witness that, it was so empowering for her, and so incredibly empowering to the baby being born. All of our daughters. We have 3, and no chemical, no drugs. The baby's beautiful. Coming out like almost alert and awake, and just what a great start to life. And even the doctors, the doctor, the support staff, after our first baby, we went in for the second 2 years later, and they said, what's your birthing plan? We said, we're using hypnosis. And the nurse goes, you're the one.
Oh, you're
She
kidding.
goes, oh, we heard about you. So my wife's like a legend in the hospital. And it's remarkable.
Okay, next question. Daniel wants to know, how do you get folks to trust you as a stage hypnotist, or does it matter?
It's organic vodka, I guess. I think it's so funny that you say that when people come up and they get to do these crazy things, what a memory it makes when you're visiting Vegas. But what the cool part about being in a hypnosis show and hypnotized is you get to be your truest personality without consequence. You get to do anything and be anything. It's if I were to say, this doesn't apply to you. If I were to say, get up and just sing a song in front of the camera, 98% of the population would go, I can't. There's no way I can do that. You're comfortable. That's who you are. You can do that. But in hypnosis, get up and sing a song, they just do. And there's never that thought of, what are people going to think? There's never that fear of criticism. And that's what hypnosis does. It removes that inhibition. So it allows you to be your truest personality without consequence. So I never have really a hard time getting volunteers up on stage because people want to be up there. And when you're in Vegas, you want to be crazy, you want to have fun. So I talk to the audience a little bit at the beginning and build a little rapport, explain the hypnosis a little.
Yes.
And I mean, you saw last night, who wants to volunteer? We had 30 people rush the stage. Yeah, so there's never a shortage of volunteers.
Well, I'll tell you, I always found this to be interesting. What I'm sure you've experienced this over the years. Say you get a man who is a happily married guy with kids, and maybe, like, as an example, I had some people sitting next to me last night where it was the wife and I think what was her parents getting up, where they got to see the son-in-law go up there and at first reluctantly participate with some of the more sexual content that you bring into the show. Have you ever seen where there's been a problem where something or somebody does something on stage, and by the time they sit down, they're no longer a couple? Because of certain things that may come out of their deep-rooted personality. As an example, when you have them, you do this one, I won't say a lot about it, but you have them act as porn stars to some degree.
They're auditioning.
They're auditioning to be in a porn movie. Now, say as an example, one all of a sudden in a subconscious brings out gay tendencies or something. And then they have to sit down with their mom and father-in-law. Right. How does that, have you ever had any problem with that or some repercussions after the show?
No, and I'll tell you why. One, I'm very conscious of that. I'm very aware of that. So notice how I staged that suggestion? We put in, a $50 million contract deal on that particular male blow-up doll that we have. So
Right.
There's now a scapegoat for that person.
Gotcha.
You know, it's like, oh, well, I did it for the money. Or
right. No, you were
but
very
no
clever
matter
in the way
what.
you worded that.
Right. So it's that being conscious of that is super important. The second thing is, a lot like alcohol, it's no excuse, but people use it as excuse. Oh, you said this, you said that, you said that. Oh, well, I was hypnotized. Oh, you said this, did that. Oh, well, I was drunk. I don't remember. There's a parallel there. You know, it's almost like there's, oh, I wasn't able to control that. Is the fallacy or the perception that comes with that. But on the flip side, notice the one guy that didn't really participate.
Yes.
Okay. There's what we call a subconscious watchdog.
Yes.
Where in the environment that you're in, your subconscious mind goes, that's not okay. Just because you're hypnotized doesn't make you stupid.
Right.
So here's a better analogy for it. People ask, well, who's hypnotizable? Who's not? When are you hypnotized? When can you be hypnotized? For example, let's say that you, or we'll call your Uncle Frank, is an attorney. And I asked for volunteers at his attorney's holiday party. And he's trying to make partner. He comes up and he sits down in the chair and he's going through these relaxation things. I'm saying breathe in and relax. In his mind's going, what if I say something stupid about the senior partner of the firm? I'll never get this job.
Right.
He's not going to relax. He's not going to allow himself to go into hypnosis very well. And even if I did something that was compromising, he would awaken from hypnosis and not participate. Because you won't do anything that's against your morals or your belief system, even when hypnotized. Like, and I'll get back to that point in a second. You take Uncle Frank and move him out of that scenario. Now you put him into the family reunion. Now he's crazy Uncle Frank with a lampshade on his head and he'll do anything. So the social environment can dictate people's suggestibility. Last night I did a hypno joint. We let them smoke 100 times more powerful than a regular joint.
Right.
And a couple of people chose not to take it.
Right.
And they said, oh no, I don't smoke. Even hypnotized with my suggestion, they still pass the joint across. That. So you can't, and that just proves the fact that you can't make someone do anything that's against their morals or beliefs.
Well, the show is extremely entertaining, and it's equally fascinating to see what the human psyche is allowing itself to do and not to do. There's so many things I want to ask you about this. Unfortunately, we have to take a short little break. We come back, everybody, we're going to continue with Marc Savard, the big-time celebrity over at the Planet Hollywood. I'm Chris Phillips. You're watching Talktails. We'll be right back.
I'm Courtney Leone. This is Vegas Video Network. You want me to mention awkward silence? Let's do that then, okay. Never been on set here before. I'm always out live on location for Awkward Silence 2.1. I'm Courtney Leone, and you're watching the Vegas Video Network. Good? Better?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back to the Vegas Video Network. You're watching Talktails, which comes to you every Monday night from here in Las Vegas. I'm Chris Phillips, and tonight we have a dear friend of mine who is not only talented, but extremely fascinating, I'd say, in what he has chosen to do for a living. He is a hypnotist and a comedian, I must say. You're equally as funny as you are.
Well, thank you.
Hypnotizing.
Thank you.
And what an enjoyable hour and a half that is to go over to the V Theater at the Planet Hollywood and to see your friends and family get up on stage and make complete buffoons out of themselves.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the show, but you didn't volunteer.
Well, I think that, you know, I make a fool out of myself enough during the week that nobody else wants to see that anymore, especially me. And I have a lot of demons.
Do you think you could be hypnotized?
I think I would open myself up to that. I would love to do that because I've always been somewhat cynical to that. Now I'm not. I'm a believer, especially after last night. I realized that is 100% legitimate.
And you'd be comfortable doing whatever on stage.
Oh, God, you probably more so than most, for sure. I would love to do that.
Yeah, I've seen your top 40 act. Yeah.
Yes, I'm usually hypnotized throughout most of that, but it's usually by.
That's great. I love it. I've seen your show 3 times.
I have somebody that comes in by the name of Crown Royal before we go on that somehow takes over my mind.
It's such a fun show.
There's somebody that you did hypnotize that I think was probably one of the high points in your. Not only your career, but your personal life, because I know you're from Canada. I know you're a big hockey fan. Mm-hmm. Is that true that you got to hypnotize Wayne Gretzky, or was it, you were at his retirement party, correct?
Yeah.
For 3,000 people, and you got to be one of the entertainers? What was that like?
Yes, that was...
hockey fan.
I mean, being in growing up in Canada as a kid, especially in northern Alberta in the heyday of the Edmonton
Sure.
Oilers and the Stanley Cup, and when Wayne Gretzky played, you had to be a hockey fan or you're like deported, And so it was part of who I was. I've always been, a huge hockey fan. I play hockey. I wish I could get out a little more often than I do now, but it's just always been, a pleasure of mine. And I was invited to perform at his party. And,
That's
and
so cool.
There was 2,999 people at the event. They had to end it on a 99, of course.
Yeah,
and
right.
so it was fun. I hypnotized a bunch of people, and all the routines that I did were all hockey themed. So it was really, really neat. So I thought out these really creative routines, and one, I didn't think out all that well. I made the people who were hypnotized think that they just won the Stanley Cup, and so they're all cheering and laughing and celebrating and having a great time until I told them that the goal that they won in overtime was under video review. Not thinking these are crazy psychotic hockey fans. They wanted to start fighting. And they came to me thinking that I was the referee. So they're all on my face. Whoa, what are you talking? And they're swearing, and I'm like, whoa.
God,
so it was a really funny routine, and I awarded them a little Stanley Cup, a little 5-inch Stanley Cup, and they're holding it and stuff. So the players got a real kick out of it, and Wayne didn't participate. But I just recently, actually a few weeks ago, I was able to connect with Wayne and do some private work with him, some private sessions, one-on-one stuff. So,
oh my gosh. Well, speaking of Wayne, apparently he's in our live chat room. What does he have to say, Scott?
Wayne says, hello, eh?
Oh.
Two questions. Both are really interesting. First one's from G-Man. G-Man wants to know, do you have a favorite routine or moment in your show? And the second one is from Barnhart. I think it might be Don Barnhart. And he wants to know, have you ever put somebody so deep into a trance it scared you that you might not be able to bring them out again?
Yes, my wife 13 years ago. So we.
Is that how you got her to marry?
Yes,
you,
that's exactly how. Yeah, I married up. I did well. I did well.
She's quite a looker too, by the way.
Yeah, I did okay. Yeah.
Scott, she's quite lovely and lovely children.
Thank you. Yeah, I think my favorite routine is. There's so many. I've got about 10 hours of material, and you saw about an hour and a half of it. Because you just put your mind out there what you think might be funny to make someone do. And it usually is. So there's no limit to what I can do, and as far as setting up a routine. My favorite's probably the snake. When I do a pretend magic trick, I borrow someone's belt and turn it into a snake.
Sure.
And that's probably one of my favorite routines.
That's very funny.
Yeah, I think the porn names too. When they come up with their own porn name,
that's.
What's really cool about this? It's hard
so
to answer
funny
because
to see who people really are underneath,
their outer shells,
social standards that they put on themselves.
Well, we feel that we feel that we need to behave in a certain way when we're in certain situations,
Sure.
and hypnosis takes that all away. And I think what's really cool about my job and what I think I have the greatest job in the world, and you'd say that, everyone says that.
Sure.
I don't have to sing the same songs every single weekend.
It's different and fresh.
Even though I give the same suggestions and I tell every single person maybe, the same thing every night, 6 nights a week, their perception of what that suggestion is different. So I'm part of the audience too.
Well, it's got to be so interesting from your perspective because you're not only an entertainer and the ringleader, but you're also a casting agent.
Yes.
Because what you're doing is you're taking a bunch of random people and you have a preconceived notion of these characters that you want each and one of them to be. And I can see you working it and whittling these people down to being the perfect candidates for each one of these characters you want them to be, I'm sure. I think that would be fascinating to see night after night how you work your magic in terms of putting these people into different roles that you're going to be able to pick on through the evening. And I found the casting agent aspect of what you do terribly interesting. I'm sure that.
Well, I like that you picked up on that,
sure.
and because those
whittle it down from like 25 to like about 9 or 10 people.
And that's the intricacies of the hypnosis show that I think are the most challenging. Putting someone in hypnosis is easy. I can teach you how to hypnotize someone in an hour. Orchestrating and putting it into entertainment is what the challenging part of it is. Right. And I like that your inquisitive mind was watching it that way because the audience, you were sitting in the front row last night, and the audience is watching and laughing, and I noticed you a couple of times. You're watching the show like this. I could just see the wheels spinning,
yeah,
going.
it's so
You know,
fascinating.
it is fascinating, and most people there to watch the entertainment part of it. But it was fun for me to watch you. You know,
so unique.
Taking in all, how the process of how it all works.
Well, do you mind if you take one more question? I know that we'd love to get. I love getting.
That's what it's
to
for.
your fans. And
Yeah,
what else you got over there, Scott?
Yeah, Don wants to know, where do you see as the future of hypnosis and the future of flavored vodka?
That's a big one.
That's a big boy pour right there.
That's a big one.
Wow, I feel like I'm out with my girlfriend. Oh, I want to wait. I'm holding out to the very end. Cheers.
It's good though, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, and people say, well, what do you mix it with? We're made up of 70% water to begin with, so a mixture is kind of redundant. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Why even the ice?
The future of hypnosis.
I think this is hitting me because I forgot what the question was.
The
Future of hypnosis.
future of hypnosis.
I think that what's happening in the world of especially personal development, people are starting to now realize that they're having to take accountability for their own lives. Mm-hmm. You know, for the last couple of decades, it's like, call the doctor, call this, call that. And I think people are realizing now, if I don't make a difference.
And I'm somebody who's very against that.
Right.
And that's why I'm terribly fascinated by what you're talking about here.
If you don't make the changes yourself, who's going to? You know, I mean, and the question, I always pose the question, when someone comes up to me with a problem and they say, what do I do about this? What do I do with that? Oh, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that. I don't like my job, or I don't like my relationship that I'm in. I throw it back to them. So, well, what are you going to do about it? Right. Well, I don't know. I think that we're starting to take that empowerment ourselves, and we're starting to take accountability for our own actions. And I think that's where it's shifting. I think that, where I'd like to see it going is doctors, chiropractors, massage therapists, Reiki therapists, everyone is not necessarily going to tell you how to get better. I think they're going to be instruments and tools and help you because you know your mind and body more than anybody. You know how you feel, you know what you're thinking, and I think that everyone working together, I think, is where the direction of personal development and self-help's going.
And don't you think in the medical field that our country in particular is so overly prescribed with chemicals that we just don't need to fund these pharmaceutical companies that could be alleviated completely with exactly the principles you're talking about?
Right. And I believe that some of the things that, like I have these crazy ideas, these crazy visions, and one of the visions is I'd love to implement and working on, I want to begin working on an idea and executing an idea of like 7th and 8th graders. Why don't we teach them about the power of their own mind, what they're capable of doing, where the potential is limitless, and to understand that, because what we're doing as a society is we begin to protect and shield people. Let's not give first, second, and third place ribbons. Let's give everyone a participation ribbon.
Right. Yeah.
There's something I could not hate that more than anything.
Right.
Because we have to learn not only how to win, but how to lose. And if everyone becomes even keel, it's like the whole No Child Left Behind program. We're making excuses and we're allowing the accountability to just go away.
Well, that's why our country became the most powerful country in the world, is that competitive spirit and capitalism.
But we're taking that away in our youth.
I know we are.
We're taking it away.
Now, is that one of the reasons you started the International Institute of Hypnosis?
Yes.
Does that fall under that umbrella as to why you began? What is that all about?
Really, I teach hypnotherapy, teach hypnosis, as a career. Hypnosis has never been more prominent than it is today. In the 50s and 60s, it was, witchcraft. In the 1930s, I'd be burned at a stake.
You would.
Doing what I do, hypnotize people and give them a blow-up doll, witch. So it's really come a long way, and it's becoming a lot more widely accepted. I think people are starting to see what the power of the mind is, and not only are they going, "Oh, this is really crazy and cool," they're starting to think, "How can I apply that to my life?" And it's inspiring them to go out and make a difference and say, hey, if you can hypnotize someone to river dance in front of 500 people, could you help me stop smoking?
Right.
And the answer to that question is of course. Yeah. And it comes from the power within. So that's where that entire program, once you become a student of the mind, you can't get away from it. You become a student of the mind forever. And that's the direction it's going. And I've come up with a really cool program that's coming out. I hope to get it finished in 2012.
Well, good.
About reprogramming the subconscious mind. The experts say that it takes 21 to 30 days to do it. I found a way to do it in 10. So we're designing the program. It's going to be hot, and it's going to be real cool. And I think the driving factor is to empower people to make a difference in their life, to allow them to live the dreams that they've always wanted to dream. And we have one life.
Their full potential.
Yeah, of course.
They're putting a cap on where they think they can go with things, I'm sure. And they need to just take that off and explore their own mind that I'm sure most people don't even begin to explore.
Yeah, like the program The Secret. Do you remember The Secret?
Of course.
I liked it and then I hated it.
Right.
I liked it because it had the right ideas and the concepts. Throw it out in the universe and it'll come to you. Well, the law of attraction is just a tiny law at best. If it really worked, you'd have been dating a supermodel at 15, I'm sure, if you're throwing that out in the universe. As we all would. So if that's the case, I've been picking on you all night. If that's the case, then I would be, people would get more than what they're getting currently. But what's happening is where The Secret, I feel, fell short. I'm probably getting in trouble from this. I'm going to get 1,000 emails. Where it fell short was it told us to throw it out in the universe, but there's organic change that's happening inside. And I want to meet somebody, want to meet that perfect somebody. Well, what's really happening is that idea goes in the mind, the head starts coming up, the chin's up, there's eye contact, there's smiling with the people that you're meeting. What happens? You end up meeting somebody. So it's the organic change that's happening inside. It's not necessarily the universe that's throwing it in. So I want to take it to the next step and show what those tools are and how it's affecting your mind and body, that synergistic approach, and how you can apply it in your life and control what those tools are, as opposed to throw it in the universe, throw it into your own universe and make a difference.
And I think once you are able to establish the principles of what you're talking about, that would relate to everything in your life, from business to personal relationships to habits that you may want to get rid of, to who knows. But
if it has to do with mind, emotion, it has to do,
Well, speaking of students that you're referring to, we have one last question in the live chat room, if you don't mind, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going a little long here, but the chat is blowing up. This is fascinating. 2 questions. One, do you believe that hypnosis can help somebody with a long-term chronic pain? And second, do you do individual hypnosis?
All right. Well, to answer the first question, yes, absolutely. With long-term chronic pain, and pain can be controlled. Our mind receives it as a gauge. The pain receptors come from the body, and they go to the mind. The mind receives it and says, "How much does it hurt?" And from the mind perspective, you can turn that off from the source or from the brain. But again, you don't want to turn that off because it's our body's way of telling us something's wrong. If you broke your leg.
Sure.
To me to hypnotize you, that says that you not feel it whatsoever.
Ignore
when you
it,
walk on it, you're gonna do some permanent damage. There's a reason why that system's there. So I don't like to take away people's pain completely when I'm dealing with hypnosis. But our bodies have more medicine than any pharmacy could ever sell us.
Right.
It's a matter of tapping into it. You hear those stories of the lady that picks up the car off her kid, or you hear shock. That's a prime example. You get your arm cut off, people stop feeling it, they go into shock because their mind cuts off. Blocks that so that they can get the attention and the care that they need at the time. So yeah, chronic pain, absolutely. Hypnosis is probably the most effective form of natural therapy for chronic pain. And the results that people get are just phenomenal. My story being one of them, a broken back, and healing myself naturally that way. Using hypnosis as the only anesthesia for that. As far as private sessions, I used to do private sessions a lot, and with I think the schedule that I have, 6 nights a week, promoting, marketing, you know what it's like to be an entertainer. I haven't taken any private clients for about 2.5 years. With a couple of special cases here and there, but it's just been, I think that we're helping people one-on-one has been super important to me, but designing the programs that I have and lecturing, reaching 300 to 500, 1,000 people at a time, I found to be, more effective for me and being able to inspire them to make changes. So unfortunately, I haven't been seeing private clients.
Well, there's something I like to ask a lot of the guests that I have on the show. It's a little bit off the subject, but it kind of relates to you being an entertainer here in Las Vegas. Obviously, there are not a lot, but 2 or 3 other, I guess you might say, competitors,
sure,
so to speak, that build themselves as hypnotists in a comedic nature. Is there camaraderie amongst the hypnotists here in town, or is there kind of a competitive animosity, or if to be honest, how does that work? Because I know most of you guys personally,
Yep.
but I don't know how you all interact with amongst yourselves. I'm wondering what that dynamic is like.
Well, I think that people from the outside in, feel that there's a animosity, between magicians or
right,
hypnotists
right.
or jugglers or or comedians. But when you talk about musicians, you don't feel like it's the same way.
None, zero.
Everyone plays music.
No, that's a big love fest.
Right, and it's okay.
But we're all smoking weed though.
Right, that's true. Yeah, so, care less. So to answer your question, I think that there's, I spend more time worrying about my business than other people's business, but there's a total camaraderie. I mean, I get along with the other hypnosis shows and the hypnotists in town, and we exchange texts, and we go to events, and it's not like that at all. I think that in the last few years of reality TV, people want it to be like that,
Sure.
but it's not. I mean, it's not. It's all cool. I mean, I think that coming from 18 years of doing entertainment, you support other entertainers. You want them to do well. There's enough work for everybody. I think that there's enough people that come to town, for a lot of people to have successful shows, and I wish everybody the best. And that side of it. The other side of it is there is a competitive nature, but not just against hypnosis shows. I mean,
No.
Every single night I compete against David Copperfield and Blue Man Group.
Right.
So it's. There's 100 shows happening every single night in town, so it becomes part of that business.
Well, I can tell you this as a fan of Las Vegas shows, if I was to spend my hard-earned money by going out and seeing a show here in Las Vegas, I don't think you'd get more for your money than going to see Marc Savard at the V Theater every night at 10 o'clock, dark on Fridays.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Entertaining, hilarious, but interesting. You leave feeling as though you got something in terms of substance. And I couldn't have had more fun last night, and I thank you so much for inviting me. And if you're ever in Las Vegas, please check out Marc Savard at Planet Hollywood. What a wonderful hour and a half that is. And I dare you, I challenge you to become a volunteer, because I can tell you that's going to be a very, very interesting part of your trip to Las Vegas, to say the least. I know you've got all these, we have to wrap this up, we're way over time, but I know you got all these DVDs that talk about quit smoking and to lose weight. I need the one on how to pick up on teenage girls.
Oh, for God's sake.
What?
You're already an expert.
Are you ready for the big, the Breathalyzer challenge?
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's see how this works. Ira. All right, we'll go first. Mine says minty fresh. No, I did not get a reading. I think I did it wrong because I went down to 000. That cannot be the case. Okay, give me a true reading here, safe mate. Safe mate, like there's such a thing in Vegas.
Wow.
Okay, I got a 1.5. That's not true. I can't get it to read. Here, you do it. You try it. I did not get a reading. Give it a whirl. Hypnotist boy, let's see what you got. This is the silliest thing I've ever done. Ever. What'd you get?
I got. Hold on. It's no. We're not doing it right.
I know something.
We gotta read the instructions. It tells you when to blow. It tells you when to blow.
Hey, if I can't play a video game, this is way out of my league.
All right. Okay, so 5.
Okay.
It's counting down. Wait. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I didn't see that.
Okay.
Oh, hang in there, Scott.
And it tells me my level is at
Oh, okay.
Chris Phillips.
Oh!
Whoa!
Oh!
I don't think it's working.
I'm the only entertainer in the town that has their own custom cuffs.
I don't think it's working.
All right, well, we'll give it. That'll give you an excuse to come back. Would you come back again?
I would love that.
Well, folks, once again, you're watching Talktails on the Vegas Video Network. Once again, I want to let you know that you can contact us anytime at Talktails at vegasvideonetwork.com if you have. .com.
We don't need a reading for
We
that.
don't need a reading. Well, I have to say I'm now a fan of organic vodka. And cheers. And here is to the entertainer parties that you and your buddy Andy Walmsley throw.
Oh, yeah.
And we got one coming up on Thursday night, right?
Thursday, yeah.
You guys have been so cool to create camaraderie again in this town by bringing entertainers together in our little secret sauce parties that we have. And I love these things, and I thank you guys for throwing them. Also, I'm not allowed to talk about this, but I know you got some great news that you're going to be announcing Wednesday.
I don't know if you read that on my Facebook.
I
but yeah,
did, and I know you can't.
I can't release it till Wednesday.
Don't let the
Exciting.
cat out of the beanbag, Lucy.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Well, my friend, thank you
So
for coming
excited.
in here. I can't wait to hear about the announcement. You got Marc Savard sitting here with me on Talktails over at Planet Hollywood. We'll see you next 2 Mondays from now. Happy holidays, everybody, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.